Okay, thank you very much, and welcome to the Direct Engagement Show. Pleased to announce it with the partners of CanadaOne.com, as well as the Globe and Mail. Today's show, David versus Goliath. And I'm good for the webcast audience. If you could, you have the option of emailing in your questions at webcast@directengagement.com, or either you're on the Globe and Mail site or CanadaOne.com. Anyways, today's event or show is David Goliath, competing against the giants. And as we all know, as SMBs or small medium businesses, large companies beat you in terms of resources from the size of the markets, marketing budgets, number of sales people they have, customer service staff they have, et cetera, et cetera. But you know what? With the gentleman up here today, we know you can still slay the giants, for history has shown us that. So today's topic is about how you can compete against the big guys and how other small and medium-sized businesses have done so and won. Today's show's from 1 hour. I'm going to commence first with our spotlight panelists. The first panelist, Steve Abrams, is the co-founder of Street Brewery. Now, his perspective is going to be marketing against multi-million-dollar budgets. Each panelist will be given approximately a 1-minute overview, and then we're going to get into the journalist questions. And right after that, we'll go into the audience questions, both webcast and studio. So, Steve, we'll start with you. Marketing against multi-million-dollar budgets.
Don't do it. Next. We certainly never started out to compete against multinational conglomerate breweries. It was really just a bunch of guys getting together to make some great craft beer. And as we've grown, we've certainly stuck to that premise. And we're happy just making great craft beer. That's what we're about. So there's really lots of room in this industry for people like us, and that's we've found in Ontario especially. So we like to think we've carved our niche, and we're all about making great, unique products, looking at the market, what's missing, experimenting, having fun with it. As our brewer likes to say, he makes beer on a human scale, and we're still trying to figure out what exactly that means. But it sounds good, so I'm going to say it. And we are still just having fun, but in terms of competition, I don't even think they know we exist. Well, maybe they do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Steve. Now to Tony Lacavera, chair of Wind Mobile. He's going to provide a perspective on starting up even in an established market, as he's done against the behemoths, the telcos. Tony, your perspective?
It's a lot of fun. It's a great adventure. Something I really enjoy doing, so that really helps, obviously, when you really love what you're doing. Shaking up the big guys has always been something that I've been about since I started in the telecom business 12 years ago. And every time I come across a fellow entrepreneur that's doing something like that, such as Steve, I'm really happy to be an investor in his business, because he's really kicking butt. And so it's the same idea, right? Where the big guys are big, they're slow. They got a lot of legacy systems and processes. Most of all, they've got this tunnel vision going on. So as long as you approach things with fresh ideas and a fresh way of looking at things and stick to a new model, you can really make a real impact on the market.
Thank you very much, Tony. Now, Loudon Ownen, he's the chairman of I4I, and his perspective is how you can really protect your IP, especially, I guess, going with some big partners. Loudon, your opening?
The best way to protect your IP is to stay at home and not talk to anybody. And then no one's going to steal it, but you're going to stay at home a long, long time, and you'll be quite lonely. I think when you go to market and you decide you're going to expose what you're doing and make that big first leap, get a patent if you can afford it, protect yourself in every possible way, and find good people around you. Michael Volpe, the founder and the chief technology officer and the inventor of the patent, is here. And you work with terrific people like Michael in building the organization so that whatever happens going forward, you can withstand the battles they'll ensue inevitably. If you have something good, people surprisingly want to take it away from you. So you protect it up front, be aware of the risks that are out there, find great partners, and in our case, be prepared to go to court, be prepared to fight, because you can win.
Okay, thank you. Now, Leyland Brown, she's the Vice President of Commercial Solutions, HP Canada, and we wanted her on the perspective of leveraging IT. So you're hearing, first and foremost, the high level, what are the key essentials that a small business can utilize IT? Where would you recommend they go?
Technology is the one component of your infrastructure that's got a proven ability to help you increase revenue and save money through cost savings and increase the productivity of our employees. But like a lot of times, small businesses don't necessarily want to invest in the technology. And really, it's about using that technology to level the playing field so that you can compete against the big guys. Because we have the ability with the mobile technology now to really level the playing field completely.
You mentioned mobile. So is that one of the key top 3 areas you would
Absolutely.
suggest going first?
Absolutely.
And what do you mean by mobile? Would it be
Mobile,
remote?
so being able to give your employees or the people that you work with, that work with you, being the ability to work anywhere, anytime, anyhow, connected. And that's the piece that, with the that whole connected piece is key.
Okay, so opening comments. We've got those now in a high level. And we're going to start with Julie King. And Julie King is publisher and managing editor of CanadaOne.com. It's the largest small business website in Canada. Now, Julie, your first question.
Well, first of all, congratulations, because, a lot of people set out with a dream and they start a business, and it starts off as a small business, and then at some point along the way, something happens. Quite often, I think it's not the failure we read about 80% the first 5 years, 80% in the next 5 years, as much as it is they get stuck. They're trying to deliver on a vision, they're trying to go forward with a goal in mind, and at some point, something comes along the way that just completely, they get mired and stuck. So I'd like to hear about your founding vision and how things have gone on the path for you. I think we don't have, the 20 minutes it could do it justice. But, what was that founding vision, and where did you get stuck, and how did you overcome it?
So like the inspiration?
The inspiration, founding goal that they aimed for.
And we'll start with Steve and go right there. Steve?
Well, the founding vision, as I said before, was about making great craft beer and really sticking to that. So that's been the premise. Also, staying close to home and community. As we branched out to other cities, selling our beer, we really tried hard to stay close to the community, and we like to call it our Liquid to Lips program. So it's all about getting people to try our beer, and events have been a huge thing for us, and I love to go and pour beer. It works. And whether it's a rib fest or a music festival or a movie festival, beer certainly makes people happy, and we like to be a part of that community. So as we've grown, we've tried to stick to that principle. But as to the point about partners, I'd say that's huge to have people that you trust implicitly and getting involved as you grow and as you get new people involved, to be able to let go of some of the initial jobs that maybe you didn't do so well. And when we started, I wore a few hats that didn't fit my head too well. I was an awful bookkeeper. And so I think that's another key point.
What made you go for beer, though? Was it a passion you had? Okay, we all have a passion, or a lot of us do, for beer.
I did like beer, yeah.
But what made you decide to go in beer?
I saw an opportunity. I saw a tremendous opportunity here in Ontario.
How did you see the opportunity?
I saw that, I am originally American from New York City, moved up here. Yeah, sorry. And when I came up here, I was familiar with, you might be familiar with, like Sierra Nevada, Sam Adams, a lot of these great American craft beers that you can't readily get here. And honestly, I was craving them. And there weren't too many similar brands here, so I saw an opportunity to start with a few guys. And I am not a brewer. I don't make beer. I drink it and enjoy it, but I certainly helped when we started, bottling and doing all that, but I'm a lousy brewer.
So you saw a gap and opportunity?
Absolutely, it was just opportunity, yep.
Okay. Tony?
I think Canadians love to hate their wireless carrier, their cable company, their phone company, and I was just like every other Canadian who's had a bad experience. When I was younger, I didn't have any credit, couldn't get a cell phone, couldn't even get really Rogers cable because I didn't have any credit. So it's always a problem to, getting. And then of course, as soon as you don't pay, they cut you off right away. So anyway, I'm a frustrated customer. Was how I had my experience. But I also went to school with a bunch of great people in engineering at U of T, and we developed a lot of software while we were at school, and we decided to take some of that software that we created and designed to create some new telecom solutions and really bring software into the telephony world. So this is like 97, 98, 99 timeframe when software-based telephony was really coming in. Now, VoIP is really the term that was used more recently. And got to a point, though, to answer your question, Julie. I think that my business has gone through a number of evolutions, and it got to a point where it started out as a small business, and it was really like a bunch of young guys, and we were having a good time and drinking beers. I wish Mill Street was around. And it was truly a small business, 3 or 4 or 5 people. And as it's gone through many iterations, many evolutions, and as it's gotten larger, when I think back, over the points that I'd say were pivot points, it got to a size in 2005 where it was just starting to get large enough that now the big guys kind of knew who we were, and we were occasionally we'd win a contract, and we were still sort of just not really on the radar, just kind of on the periphery. And I decided at that point that we either needed to kind of make the business much larger, or sort of go home kind of thing. And we acquired at that time a firm called Yak Communications. So I decided to move forward. We acquired Yak Communications, and that had like the opposite effect of what I thought, which I thought was like, okay, now we're going to be bigger, so now we can actually compete. And the reality was we were still very, very small compared to the incumbents. So I learned a lot throughout that process, and said, you know what, in order to really actually now go the next step, we either need to sell the business or we need to make investment in infrastructure. And so that's when it led me in 07, 08 to find a big strategic investor to build wireless infrastructure in Canada, because we really could never go to the next level without, so I think it's sort of like getting to those points, and to answer your question directly, getting to those points and then making a decision. And I've met a lot of entrepreneurs that get stuck right there, like you said, and then what happens, and the business sort of coasts and gradually declines. So I think you gotta eat or be eaten would be my sentiment.
Thank you, Tony. Loudon?
iFry was founded to make sure we didn't cause trouble for anybody, just to be a friendly, small competitor in the world. And if you believe that, you haven't been seeing what's happened in the last couple of years. But I think Michael Volpe, who's the founder, should actually speak about what the vision was and what drove the company, because it's a very exciting story.
Sure.
So
Michael?
Right there.
And Michael's right in the audience here.
So what was the founding vision?
Yeah, and direction goals.
Well, the founding vision was really straightforward. We had people who were interested, customers who were interested in what we wanted, and we wanted to satisfy that requirement. Goes back to your point. There's customers out there who have a need. It was not being satisfied by their current suppliers, and nobody had a vision, and they also had a vision. Most of our customers then and now have a vision of where they want the future to be. They're not sure what that future is, and I think one of the things that we brought to the table was we were willing to work with them on inventing the future, and that was part of the overall vision of the company, is how do we invent the future with our clients.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, just to jump in there. What happened, I think, at i4i is that Michael and his co-inventor of the technology had a very profound, deep insight into the way the world would change with information management. And he's being modest about it here, but it was really poised to shake things up. But he knew, and we knew when we invested, and when I became chairman, it would take a long time. So inevitably, when you're dealing in what's called infrastructure, whether it's building a bridge or building a technology bridge, it takes time. And everybody faces some pretty tough hurdles. So despite the original business plan, it didn't just simply scale up at the super rapid pace and with a positive cash flow after a couple of days. It took a long time. And I think the decision that was made early on that I think was really pivotal was to protect our property. And that was Michael's patent filing. It was the invention together with the co-inventor, Steve Owens. And that really positioned the company. So no matter what happened, when we faced highs and lows and other issues, at least we had property. We had something we owned. And people have perhaps forgotten because of there's been attention paid to this lawsuit against Microsoft, but it's a company, it's a business. We sell products, we have done for a long time. We have clients all over the world. We supply, anytime you buy pharmaceuticals in this country, and there's a label on that pharmaceutical, that comes through i4i. And that makes sure you don't mix apples and oranges and nitrogen, and make sure you're safe. So i4i is actually a pretty thriving business in its own right, but in addition, it has property which it's had to protect.
Okay.